Hey guys, it's Maymay, and today we're going to make two cards and kind of do one of the work. Anyway, kind of. So I was playing around with making this card, and I realized that if I do it right, I can get two cards out of this by playing with the positive and negative from our die cuts. So check this out. I'm going to bring my Cuddle Bug over here, and we're going to do some die cutting first. So you can see here, I've got my Cuddle Bug out. I've got an A and a C plate laying here with a little piece of glitter paper. That came from this little cardstock pack. This is one of those, it's one of those strips of paper, and I just cut a square away. Now the way I decided what size to cut it was by the die I was going to use. I decided to use this little, I think it's a maple leaf die, that's what I'm going to go with. And I just decided to cut the paper just big enough for that maple leaf die to sit in. Now I am not using my magnetic platform, I'm not using tape or anything. I'm just sitting this here and just kind of eyeball centering it. And then I'm going to place a B plate on top and just run this through my machine. Now this is glitter paper, and you really don't have to do this, but I do run it through forward and back just to make sure it cuts good. So then when I get this guy out of here, I'll show you what we get. Now the positive and the negative is this. Here's your positive because that's positively a leaf, right? And here is your negative because the negative space leaves a leaf. So when I was doing this, I thought, you know, this is just as pretty as this. Let's make two cards out of this. So there's my first one. I'm going to cut that two more times from the same size paper, just in a different color. Same pack and everything. This is the same glitter paper, just a different color. And this time I'm going to lay my leaf in the opposite direction just to give us a little interest. Place my B plate back on there, roll that through, forward and back. Now we'll have the same results with our leaf and our negative space here. So we'll use those. I'll put those aside. And I want to cut one more in this kind of orangey color, which I think is so pretty. And this leaf, I think I will do a little more straight up and down, so it's different than the other two as well. And this is our third one, the orange color. So I'm just going to put those aside and we're going to use them all. Now I'm through with this guy. So I'm going to move him away as well. Now again, in getting 2 for 1, this was an 8.5 by 11 piece of brown cardstock that I cut in half at 4 1/4, the long way. And now I'm going to score it to make it my card base. So I'm putting it into my scoreboard and I'm going to score it at 5.5. This is going to be a top folding card. So there's one. Then I'll score the next one at 5.5. So I did a little prep work because I wanted to kind of lay out the papers that I wanted, and I felt like those glittery leaves would be really pretty with some plaid. So I did some cutting of some plaid paper as well. So I'm going to score these guys and show you what I did. Now I've done a little bit of prep work. I've done 2 different card fronts. On one side, I'm going to put my plaid paper to this side, and I'm going to show off these pretty leaves on the other side. So I'm going to utilize all of that negative space that we had left from our die cut. Why waste it, right? Look how pretty that is going down there. On this card, I'm going to use all our positive space, or our positive leaves, and I'm going to run them all the way out as far as they will go on these edges, just like this, and just kind of tilt them in different directions because I think that is so pretty. And look how we got it from one job, right? So we cut once, get 2 cards. So I'm going to adhere these guys down. I'm going to use foam tape for all of them. So the first thing I need to do is stick this guy into place. I just was like playing around and I thought, what a great way to get 2 cards and do one of the die cut. I think it's cool, and I just think those leaves look absolutely gorgeous when you cut them out and left the negative space. I was just like, I cannot waste that. It was too pretty. Also, here's a tip for you. I didn't have the right color cardstock. So this is actually a tag. See that? And the color was right, so I utilized it. Again, use what you got. I went ahead and cut a tag. Now I'm going to be using my black foam squares. We carry these at MaymayMadeIt.com, and I'm going to use both sizes. For the leaves, I'm going to use this big size first because I think that'll make it go quicker. So get my little pokey tool. I'm just going to pick one up, place it on one side. And I'm actually going to put 2 on each one because they're going to overlap that paper. So I want to make sure they stick on both sides really well. And then I'm going to stick our leaves down. And I want to utilize as much of the light colored space as I can. Once that leaf crosses over the plaid, you kind of lose it just a little bit. So I definitely want to bring it out as far as I can. And this piece is going to be perfect on the front of those card bases we made. So there's one front. And we'll put a sentiment on in a few minutes. Let's work on this guy. Now for these leaves, I'm going to use these smaller foam squares. I just think they'll be easier to place. I'm going to put them in all the corners. And because this will get kind of weak, you want to kind of put some foam anywhere you can. As a matter of fact, if you're someone that uses fun foam instead of foam dots like this is a perfect place for that. Cut your fun foam the same size as your piece of paper and die cut it at the same time if your machine will do that. So then you end up with the perfect foam to pop this guy up, and then nothing kind of loses its shape and drops on the card. So let's keep adding wherever I can here. So now I've peeled all the little protector pieces off the back of these guys, and I'm just going to lay it right next to that first piece, that little plaid piece, and stick that into place. I like the lift there. And I'll tell you something else that would be super cute here is if you made this into a shaker card, if you just went ahead and closed all that leaf in with some dimensional foam and then put something behind there to shake, that would be pretty because it would really give you the effect of like falling leaves. I think that would be neat. But you can see now why I didn't want to waste those guys. I think they're so pretty. Now let's go to our card bases, and I'm just going to glue this straight down to my card base. Now for the sentiment, I've cut some pieces down to fit some more of that tag here and some green, which is actually the plaid flipped over. You can see I'm using like the scrap of the paper. And I'm going to use this color called Olympia Green. I think it will be so pretty. And I've been asked about my tin and these colors. We carry all these inks in our store and this tin as well. And all of them fit in there perfectly. And I love it. So there's that. And then the stamps that I'm using is the one called Sunflower Wishes, and I'm going to do Sending Love. And on this one, it's going to be down in this corner. So I'm going to use this little guy right here, if I can pick him up. There we go. And I'm going to ink him in this pretty green ink. So I'm going to start with the word sending. I just think this is pretty. Kind of line that up straight. I should use my Misty probably, but I just put it on a block. So there's sending. Pretty. And then I already have love on a different block. So I'm going to ink it up. Stamp it there. So there's one. And I'm going to do the same thing on the second card. Again, while I've got this out, we'll make 2 for 1, right? So sending again. And then love. I'm just going to glue these guys together. So that one's glued and ready to go. And then we will glue this guy to this one. Bring both of our cards back over. Now this one I made to go in this area, and then this one I made to go in this area like so. Here. So for this sentiment that's going on this card, I put foam squares on one side and I'm going to put glue on the other. And the reason for that, those leaves that we popped up have a little dimension and the other side does not. So to make this lay straight, because I'm going to overlap those leaves slightly, I wanted to put this side on the foam so now it's nice and even. I've just glued this to this side. Isn't that cute? Oh, I love these cards. They are so graphic and bold. So there you go, guys. That's using the positive and the negative. And I love being able to get 2 cards from that. And so simple. The only thing we had to do to be able to do this was cut our squares the right size to start with. And once you have these cut for your dies, it's perfect. And of course I used this leaf that fit perfectly, but you might have any other image you want to use, maybe a stocking or maybe a wreath or who knows what you might want to use. You could even do this with punches. Because of the size of this, you could easily punch out a shape in the middle of this paper and use one part here and one part here. So get your thinking caps on, guys. You will be able to use this in so many different ways. Thanks so much for watching today. And if you do something like this or any project, we want to see it over on our Facebook group, which is called Maymay Made It, and so did I. So please head over and share with us what you're making. It's always good inspiration for me and for everyone else. Thanks so much for watching today. I'll see you again on Friday. Bye-bye.